Hello everybody. Right, it's a quick one for Daryl Springer. I was best to do this last week, but I didn't get around to it. Basically asked a question about laden weights. The 3.5 tonne, is that like an empty weight on a Luton? And do I need an O licence? Basically, no. If it's 3.5 tonne was the empty weight, you couldn't carry anything. The weights that you'll get given on the vans are laden weights. So if you're in a medium wheelbase, it might be 2.5 tonne. If in a long wheelbase, extra long wheelbase, might be 3.5 tonne. You have to check the specifications of the vans when you get them. Tends to be the case, the larger the van, the larger the laden weight. Luton's tends to be 3.5 tonne laden weight. Anything under 3, oh by the way, with laden weight also, something to bear in mind is that there's also axle weights. So if your van weighs 3.5 tonne, but you've got like 2.5 tonne on the front axle and 1 tonne on the back axle because you've got a pallet of coke right up against the bulkhead, they can still do you. You've got to be clever about where you load it. If you've got if you've got a big pallet, you really want it over the back axle, but then you've got to strap it down. From the flip side of things, if you've got it over the back axle and someone hits you up the bum, or you hit someone up the bum, and that thing slides forward or slides out, it can do some damage to people. So if you have got a pallet up against the front and you do get stopped by a Vosa, and they go, why is the pallet there? You go, because to stop it sliding. So, but you've really got to use your common sense on this one. You've got to justify it, whether you think you basically got to look at the load correctly, load it evenly, load it so that it's balanced, load it in a place where it can't slide. And as long as you do that and you explain to them why you've done it, it should be okay. Any van under 3.5 tonne doesn't need an operator's licence. You only need the operators once you go over the 3.5 tonne. So if you're thinking about driving a cargo, or if you're thinking about driving one of them DAFs or the 7.5 tonners, or even the 5.5 tonne vans, they look like Lutons, the Royal Mail used them all the time, 5.5 tonne, you need an operator's licence for that, and that's when things get complicated. And I know because I've started looking at it again, because if I've got a transport firm, I really should have an operator's licence. And it's even more complicated. In the old days, you have to justify where you're going to park it, you're going to have to justify who's going to maintain the vehicle. You have to make sure you prove that you've got enough money to show that you can maintain the vehicle. And now it gets even more complicated. You need things like CPC managers, who's going to check your tachos to make sure that they're in line, transport managers, all kinds of stuff. I'm not quite sure. It's things that I'm looking into myself, and I'm still having an eye about it. The advantage is once you do, the bigger the vehicle, the more you charge. If you're in a Luton van, you're looking at charging maybe 110 a mile. If you're in a cargo, you're looking at charging 220, 240 a mile. So there is an advantage going up, but you've also got to bear in mind your parts are dearer. You've got to have it inspected every 6 weeks. I think it's 6 weeks. It might be. You can ask for an extension. It might be 6, 8 weeks. But then when you bear in mind if the amount of miles I do anyway, and I have my van probably serviced every 10, 12,000 miles, it probably gets a service every 8 weeks anyway. So I am still having an eye. I do miss jumping in the back of I miss me 7.5 tonne. And also, if you're born after a certain date, you need to have a light goods vehicle licence to drive them. I believe, because of my licence, I've got granddad rights, because I used to drive. I drove one for 10 years back in the day, but there's something else I've got to look into. But the long and the short of it is, and this is why I've always recommended all the way along, that the best van to run on the exchange is a Luton curtain side with a tail lift. Because in that van, you can pretty much do every job that you possibly can without getting involved in the ministry, which is grief. But the short answer to your question, mate, is the weight that you're given on the van, whether it be like a mid 2.5, 3.5 tonne, is the laden weight. That's the weight it should carry. And also you'll have a plate in the front that you can check this out, or you can check it out online, and also check your axle weights to make sure you have so much weight on back axle, so much weight at the front axle. Any vehicle under 3.5 tonne, you can drive without an O licence. I could be wrong about this. I keep saying I'm wrong about many things, and people do correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's basically the kind of the rules of the game. Also, if you want to check the rate of your van, you want to make sure you're kosher. When you get your van, you've got everything on it, you've got your straps, you've got your blankets, you've got your toolkit, you've got your spare tyre, fill it up full of fuel, take it to a weigh bridge. If you take it to one of those metal recycling weigh bridges, around us they're called ATM, and if you take it out, I went and spoke to the guy, he said, do you need a ticket for it? And he says, if you don't need a ticket, it's for free. You just drive on, and he said, if you drive on out of hours, say 5 o'clock in the morning, you think, I'm just going to check the weight, make sure I'm all right, or just find out my weight. You drive in, there'll be nobody there, but when you drive onto the weigh bridge, he said, there's a digital readout next to the kiosk, which is black, and it'll catch up red, and it will tell you the weight of your van, and then you'll know with a full tank of fuel and your spare tyre and all your bits and pieces, how much your van weighs. And that way, if you go, well, okay, I can carry 3.5 tonne, my van weighs 2.5 tonne. And also bear in mind, curtain siders, Lutons without tails weigh less. But obviously you lose a tail, you lose some certain jobs, which is why I think curtain side with a tail is best. But yeah, once you know what your van weighs, then if the job comes in and your van weighs 2.5 tonne empty, and the job comes in and it's 3 pallets, 1,200 kilos, you can't take it, because that puts you on 3.7 and you're over. So there you go. Hope that helps, mate. Not a couple of videos that people ask to do. I'll just keep banging away at it. I've nearly finished my Argos today. It's now 11:10. I've got to take 3 cages to stores, and then depending on what pings up, I might jump back on the exchange, or I might go home and cut the edge. There we go. That's it from me today. Take care, take money.